Good morning, YouTube. It's LV Ninja 7, your resident Mistweaver monk, and it's a great day to be a Mistweaver monk. As you can see on the screen, our talents have finally been released. I've been waiting, anticipating, very nervous about these talents, but as you can see, those of you who might know what some of these icons are, we've got some pretty juicy ones in here. So I have gone ahead and made a raid talent tree and a Mythic Plus talent tree, and today I just wanted to go over what I think my initial thoughts. Now, these are very subject to change. There's a lot of testing that's going to go into this. Some of these talents might even change by the time that Dragonflight comes out, and then also there's even this one that just isn't even made yet. So also these numbers are still pretty rough, so it's kind of hard to get kind of hard to judge it correctly, but let's go ahead and get into it with our raid talent tree. So I kind of spent a lot of time working on this one, and as you can see, I couldn't go with any of these options on the bottom row on our basic monk talent tree. So for those of you that don't know, we have 61 total points with talents. 31 are spent on our basic monk tree, and 30 of them are spent on our Mistweaver tree. And you kind of have to spend a certain amount to get to the next tier. So let's go ahead and jump right into how I kind of constructed this list. So in raid, we have a lot of new options that let us take less damage. So Calming Presence is one. It's just like a flat reduction across the board. We also have access to 3 defensives: Diffuse Magic, Dampen Harm, and Fortifying Brew. So I kind of wanted to really target those because those are just invaluable in raid settings. And then also we're finally little buff bots. We can finally provide buffs to our raid, and that is super exciting. So with Close to Heart, you can get 4% additional leech to everyone. Also Windwalking, this is currently in the game, but we just don't have to talent into it. But you know, we might as well just keep it. And also Generous Pour is sick. Okay, giving everyone 4% avoidance is massive in raid. I want you guys to take a close look at the monk tree real quick and see if you notice something that we have all been asking for. You're all looking at it, you're screaming at me. It's Spear Hand Strike. We now have an interrupt as Mistweaver monk. It's awesome, 15-second cooldown. We do have to talent into it, and it kind of is an awkward spot. But the talents right before it, Frosty of Zuin, is insane, increasing all of our damage dealt by 4%. That's great, very good. And then this one right after it, increasing our damage of Sun Kick by 70% and Spinning Crane Kick by 10% is very good as well. So I kind of constructed this tree around those talents. So that kind of forced us to take Paralysis, but Paralysis can come in handy in raid. Especially like in Sanctum of Domination, we were having to paralysis like a lot of things. So Rising Sun Kick you have to take. I mean, you're a Mistweaver monk, let's be real. That's like our marquee spell, but I want you guys to look at these. Notice how it looks like Vivify. So go ahead and place your bets in the comments now what they are. I bet none of you guess it unless you've seen some of the billions of other videos already made. Vivify healing is increased, sure, we like that. We never really press Vivify except in panic situations in raid. But check this out, Vivify is now instant cast. You don't have to stop what you're doing, plant your feet, start casting, interrupt your entire flow as a Mistweaver monk, fist weaving. You now just get to like be punch, kick, Vivify, punch, kick. So you can now just get instant value out of all those renewing mists that we're going to be spreading around. So yeah, that's the basic gist. I did go down here a little bit. Tiger Palm, it's that dot that Tiger Palm applies. It's just good in raid. I mean, it just does good single target damage. And let's see, anything else special? There's nothing really special in this talent tree for raid. Let's get to our Mistweaver talent tree. First, I just want to say, honestly, I think they did a great job here. They gave us a lot of options, a lot of build options, a ton. And you'll see that there's this build that I kind of went for, or that I would have liked to go for. We have Invoker's Delight back, which, as you know, just gives us a big haste buff when we summon our Celestial. Basically, every 3 minutes we get 20 seconds of a Bloodlust. Well, check this out. Let me see if I can find it. think it's this one. Yes, so Gift of the Celestials reduces Yu'lon down by 2 minutes. So now it's a 1 minute cooldown, but it decreases its duration. That sucks that it decreases its duration, but let me just go ahead and tell you guys, 1 minute cooldown, getting a free Bloodlust is going to be so sick. I know that that's going to be a playstyle that people are going to go for, but let me just go ahead and break down this talent tree that I went for personally. So in Raid, obviously you have to start with Enveloping Mist, but Essence Font is too good in Raid not to go. We're sticking with Thunder Focus Tea, Renewing Mist. Things are similar to what they are currently. We went Life Cocoon, which is weird in Raid. I mean, it's kind of like a get one person out of jail free mechanic, but it opens up Teachings of the Monastery, which is great, and Spirit of the Crane, which, as you know, I am a big fan of. A lot of people aren't too big of a fan of this, and I get it, but you'll see why I picked it. It's just free mana that you get back, and as you can see, if you look to the right a bit, we also can have Mana Tea. So now we can have Mana Tea and Spirit of the Crane, and just really be able to control our mana bar, which is huge for Mistweavers, especially with instant cast Vivify. I can just see our mana bar getting like dumped in an instant. So we do have to spec an Invigorating Mist, which is currently a just a monk trait or passive, which is when our Vivifies cleave off our Renewing Mist. But with instant Vivify, I can actually see us pressing it more often in Raid to get that value from that cleave. Mastery of Mist is also just currently in the game for monks. Renewing Mist has 2 charges. We're probably going to go with that. It's just nice. Renewing Mist stacks up some good heals over a long fight. So, and it's a pretty efficient spell, especially if you're making use of Vivify cleaving. And then we went with Revival. I want y'all to see that Revival and Restoral are 2 things. Notice how they have the same number, so it's kind of hard to see. My guess is that Revival is going to heal for more eventually, but Restoral is just the same thing currently, but you can cast it while stunned. So, you know, as it's being said now, obviously Restoral's the way to go because they do the same thing, except this one has a benefit. But I'm guessing that honestly, if they make Revival heal more, Restoral, I mean, that benefit isn't too great. It might come up in some fights, but I would probably stick with Revival. And we kind of just went down a similar tree to what we already do. We went Rising Mists. We went Yu'lon and Enveloping Breath. Refreshing Jade Wind just is big heals and raids. And Yu'lon's Whisper is that is the bonus healing that Yu'lon already kind of has built in, but you know, you have to talent into it here. So it's kind of what makes Yu'lon really pump the heals, is it buffs all of your other healing. We went with Dancing Mists. This can spread around those Renewing Mists, and when we have to stop, I guess we don't even have to stop now to heal with Vivify. If we have to heal in a pinch, we can really hopefully have a lot more Renewing Mists out and really cleave those Vivifies, and that's gonna be some big juicy heals. I also went with the buffed Essence Font a little. So Essence Font is just our main heal in Raid. It heals so many people for so much. It will be your top heal in most cases. So we went with Font of Life, which it just increases that healing a bit, but also Upwelling. Currently in the game in Shadowlands, Upwelling is a last row talent, and we do take Rising Mist over it 10 times out of 10 basically. But if you remember, before Shadowlands, back in BFA, Upwelling was kind of the way to go. It just gives you a lot more healing. Since Essence Font is so strong, buffing that ability is just really strong as well. So you know, now we don't have to sacrifice Rising Mist to get Upwelling. So in Raid, I would think Upwelling will be worth it. Now, how is this going to work with our Ancient Teachings, which we get to keep? I'm so excited about this. Basically, Ancient Teachings last 15 seconds, whereas Essence Font's cooldown, let's see, is 12 seconds. So basically, you're just going to hold your Essence Font for 3 seconds after it comes off cooldown. You know, get that whole entire Ancient Teachings window, and then cast a slightly buffed Essence Font. Basically, you'll get half the bonus, but you'll still get that full extra duration of Essence Font HOTS. So that's kind of the gist of this talent tree. I'll let you guys take a screenshot if you want. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the Mythic Plus talents. Okay guys, sorry I kind of jump cut the music a bit, but here we are. This is going to be a very rough estimate of what I think the Mythic Plus talents are going to look like. Nothing too juicy in the basic monk talent tree. I will say we did not go with Fortifying Brew. I feel like having one less defensive in Mythic Plus is probably okay. We might have to change that up eventually. But Paralysis used to be kind of just like we would use it to, you know, do some skips every now and then, but also it would be our interrupt if in a pinch. But now we just have an interrupt, so that's great. So we can kind of sit out on that, and you know, it does suck missing out on Fort Brew, but just you know, this is just too many points to spend to get down to it. So and we also still get to do that whole Dampen Harm and Diffuse Magic split and get 2 defensives anyways. So let's go and jump into it. So we're gonna stick with Rising Sun Kick because, as you see in our Mistweaver talent tree, we're gonna have Ancient Teachings. You can't go wrong with Ancient Teachings. We're gonna go with a roll. I mean, roll's just good. We want to keep that. Still the Vivify instant cast. Still reduce damage. We're gonna actually go into Detox, and that's how we're gonna get down to our increased damage. So we're gonna have increased damage here. We're gonna have increased damage here from Rising Sun Kick and Spinning Crane Kick. And I also I wanted to really push our damage. I know that in Season 4, we're kind of having to push our healing more than our damage, but I really think that how you get ahead early in a tier is your damage as a healer. So we went with Touch of Death. Obviously, it's just a great skill, especially in Mythic Plus, where you can really control when things die and really control affixes and help your tank out by killing priority targets that are about to cast and stuff. And then we went ahead and reduced the cooldown of it down to 1 minute. So 1 minute Fatal Touch. I've been playing around with this legendary. I made a couple videos, but I did not post them. Let me know if you want to see those. They would be from Season 3. And this legendary, I mean, it's just fun. It's just good. I mean, it increases your damage by a good bit, I would say. We're also still going to these buffs on our team. Close to Your Heart, giving them Leech and then giving them Avoidance just would make the whole raid tankier, or the whole party tankier, and that is just really strong in raids. I mean, or in Mythic Plus, you can't go wrong making everyone tankier. We also went Transcendence just to open up Ring of Peace and then to open up these defensives, but Ring of Peace, we know how good it is. It's very strong. So yeah, that's why I went here. Also, we're sticking with Chi Burst. There's Chi Burst or Chi Wave, and as we've seen in Shadowlands, Chi Burst is just a little bit stronger. We would have to see a couple buffs to Chi Wave, or just a buff maybe, to push it over the top. I feel like parties of 5 is the way to go with Chi Wave. So if they do buff it, then we will see Chi Wave come in here. But as it stands, probably Chi Burst. Now, these new talent rows, we actually are opening up some talents, and I know you're probably looking at it like, why would you go this? Hear me out, okay? So right here, we have just a big clump of damage spells, and then we have this one. When 3 consecutive abilities hit more than 3 enemies, deal an additional some amount of damage. So we deal extra damage if we can hit someone with 3 consecutive abilities. 3 Spinning Crane Kicks, that third one will do extra damage. So this is just a row of damage, and Black Ox statue is just an AoE taunt. That's cool, but I do not want to be doing that as a Mistweaver. Summon Jade Serpent statue, we know what this does. It just helps our priority healing, tank healing. Maybe we go into that, but I don't think we'll need it. This, we don't know what it is. It's under construction currently. My thought is it's going to be a damage talent. I would think so, especially because this is the monk tree. I feel like that's going to be our damage talent. So I just went ahead and kind of predetermined that and went ahead and selected it. Feel free to call me wrong in the comments, but we went there. Now let's head over to our Mythic Plus Mistweaver talent tree. So just like before, we're kind of keeping the same suite of spells that we have currently in Shadowlands. Renewing Mist, Essence Font's necessary since we have Ancient Teachings of the Monastery. which we are keeping for Mythic Plus. Y'all know how strong it is. And then Cleave Vivifies just in a pinch. You know you have to do that if things start getting hairy. Renewing Mist, being able to spread that to more people is great, especially where's the talent? Here we can have it jump to other people. I went with Life Cycles as opposed to Manatee. Since we're going to be using Chi-Ji, we don't really have those big burst mana windows like we do with Yulon. So I feel like in Mythic Plus, we're going to be casting Enveloping Mist a little bit more, I guess a little bit more frequently as opposed to bursty. And Life Cycles just can help us there. And it opens up some strong things like Rising Sun Kick applies Renewing Mist. I didn't even talk about this in the last tree. Every time we Rising Sun Kick, we're going to be renewing misting someone nearby. So we're going to be applying Renewing Mist everywhere. Our whole party is going to be coated in Renewing Mist. And then we're going to have those Cleave Vivifies. It's just going to be huge, massive party healing. It's going to be insane. This talent is, so far, this is like my favorite talent. This talent is sick, okay? So we kind of dipped into that. And then our Essence Font being buffed, I kind of had an extra point and I just put it here. And then we went, obviously, Chi-Ji. Enveloping Breath's great. We don't really need Mist Wrap or Jade Wind. You guys know that. Over here, we went with Spirit of the Crane. And then we kind of, as you can see, we have this juicy Night Phase suite. Let me get to that last. So I kind of had to take this to get to it. Now, this just buffs our Life Cocoon, but I don't think we're going to be Soothing Misting that often. There is a Soothing Mist build built into this talent tree. I just did not take it, but I will be making a video on that Soothing Mist build at some point. So this talent, Secret Infusion, every time we use our Thunder Focus Tea, we'll get a buff to a stat. So if we Thunder Focus Tea and then Rising Sun Kick, we just have 10% verse. Just a 10% verse buff. Nuts. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. So Feline Stomp, we know what it does. It does a line damage to, does it still say? Yeah, 5 enemies. So it's still capped. And then this, our Blackout Kicks strike additional targets while on the Feline Stomp. So y'all know that Torghast talent where Rising Sun or Blackout Kick can hit 3 additional targets. This is it. This is what I was hoping for. It kind of sucks that it's tied to the Feline Stomp. I was hoping for it as just a baseline talent, but I will take this. This gives us extra AoE. We take that. Makes our Blackout Kicks, which are gonna be proccing Ancient Teachings, cleave. When we have Teachings to the Monastery, those extras are gonna cleave. It's gonna be insane. And then also we have Awakened Feline. Now this isn't just the legendary. I want you to notice how it says that our Tiger Palm strike 2 additional targets, and our Spinning Crane Kick heals nearby allies. Our Spinning Crane Kick heals. So now we can Feline Stomp through like an enemy pack, and then just Spinning Crane Kick, be healing everyone. This is what we were asking for. We were asking for Spinning Crane Kick to heal. We were asking for these AoE cleave Blackout Kicks, and we got it. And this is going to be so insane when coupled with that 10% verse buff. So we're going to pop Thunder Focus Tea, Rising Sun Kick, Feline Stomp, cast our Celestial to get 33% haste. So we're going to have 33% haste, 10% verse, and then our Spinning Crane Kicks are going to be healing everyone. We're going to be doing additional damage. It's just going to be nuts and insane. So that is the talent tree that I went with. Notice I did not go into Rising Mist, even though there's probably a way to get to it, but I just thought that this was too sweet. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe the Night Fade just isn't worth it, and maybe you skip out on all these points and go down into it. But as it stands, I think that is insane. Cleave Blackout Kicks, healing Spinning Crane Kicks. I'm not gonna set out on that. There's also Bone Dust Brew, which I was considering. Kind of not going Evokers, or maybe trying to find a way to take a point out up here and going into Bone Dust Brew. Y'all could probably figure out a way to do that that I'm missing, and then that way you could just add that to that little buff window where that I just mentioned, where you're gonna have crit verse haste and then Bone Dust. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think of my talent trees. Did I miss something that is just absolutely broken that I didn't read correctly, or am I just wrong about a certain talent? Tell me what you guys think of my selections. If you're excited about all these, dude, some of these looks insane. Some of them are pretty lame, but for the most part, I am very satisfied. I would like to see what this is, and I would like for it to be a damage option, but as it stands now, I am very happy. This looks like a ton of fun to play. Instant Vivify, great addition. AoE Blackout Kicks, great addition. So yeah, and this one, whatever this one is, Rapid Diffusion, that's sick. Okay, let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments, and go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I can't even speak because I'm so excited. But until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.